you want people to understand you. You want people to see your side of it, your point of view. Try to see their point of view too.
I kinda like you.
Hey everybody, Stephen Bastian. Hi Alyssa. Hey Amanda. So glad you're here. Today's episode is communication, points of view. How we communicate greatly determines the outcome of any discussion. What's up, Panda? How you doing, girl? Anyway, everyone has their own point of view. Okay. But in order for communication to be effective, you have to have the ability to observe, and awareness is the key. You have to be aware of what you're saying, how you're saying it, and try to stay on topic, especially when you're having a fight.
Stay on target.
We're too close.
Stay on target.
Know that you don't always have to be right, because it takes two to fight. And sometimes we try so hard to be right no matter what that we lose sight of the other person's point of view.
So what I told you was true from a certain point of view.
Now, yesterday I talked about on the light side that, guys, you should be honest. That people should be honest in relationships, especially in the beginning, that there shouldn't be any games. The game should not be played.
Shall we play a game?
Oh.
That ideally you would tell each other exactly how you feel. You got to know when to back off.
You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up.
And you've got to keep it cool. Now, like I told you yesterday, you could play the game if you want to. You know, there's ways to make people feel insecure and wonder where you're at. You know, guys should be mysterious.
My mystery guy, my mystery guy,
Does he like me? Does he not like me? Is he interested? Is he not interested? Now she's thinking about you, right? It is effective. I don't personally like it. It's just my opinion. I think people should just be honest with each other. Communicate. But if you are in an imbalanced relationship and you pour your heart out and tell that person how you feel and they're not receptive to it at all, or they were in the beginning and you just put too much pressure and they've lost interest, it's hard to say this and it's true, but you have to just walk away. It's over. It's over.
Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is.
You've ruined it. Learn from your failure and have new successes. And by learning from that failure, maybe next time you meet somebody and you are interested in that person, maybe you won't be as honest. You gotta balance that very carefully. You've got to give them enough to know, I'm here, I like you, I see this going somewhere, but then give them space. If they say, I like you too, I want to be with you too, then build a relationship. But if you say, I like you, I see this going somewhere, I want to be with you, I want to make you happy, and they say, I'm not ready, back off. Back off. I've made that mistake.
Back off, back off.
And it cost me the love of my life at the time. You will find another love. You will find someone that will appreciate the effort that you're making and not look at it as pressure. But I called this communication and points of view because we all have, as I said, our own point of view. Imagine we're coming up on Christmas after Halloween. Halloween's more important, of course, because Halloween rocks. But let's say you're out looking for a Christmas tree. You're in a field of Christmas trees, and you and the person you're with, let's say you're in a relationship, and it's going to be really romantic to go out and find a Christmas tree together for the house. Let's say you're living together or you're married. And you're walking through this Christmas tree field, and you see a Christmas tree. And he goes around to the other side. He's standing on the other side. Say this microphone is a Christmas tree. You're here looking at the tree. He's here looking at the tree. On your side of the tree, it's pristine, it's perfect, it's triangular, it's lush, it's green, it's gorgeous. Most beautiful tree you've ever seen in your life. On his side, it's got a big gaping hole in it with spiders, and it's disgusting, and it's rotted, and it's horrible looking, and it's dried out, brown. Maybe not necessarily spiders, but it's brown, and it's all brown. You're going to say, oh my God, baby, this is the most beautiful tree I've ever seen. He's going to argue with you. You're insane, woman. This is horrible. She's going to argue back. You don't know what you're talking about. You wouldn't know a nice, pretty tree if it bit you in the ass. Oh, God, here we go again. And the fight begins.
That was the most humiliating experience
Stop
of my
overreacting.
life.
Look, just calm down and let's talk like adults.
Overreacting?
Because you all have different points of view. Now, if one of you decides to go around to the other side, maybe you go and look at his side of the tree and you're like, oh, God, I see what you're saying. I see your point of view. Well, you know what? Come over here. And he goes over to your side of the tree. See what I mean? It's beautiful. Oh, I see what you're saying, baby. You're right. And then you can reach what's called, I'm sure you've heard this word before, compromise. Well, what if we clean the tree up a little bit, shake out all the bugs, and put it in the corner? Put the ugly part in the corner, and we could have the beautiful tree in the corner instead of in the middle of the wall. You reach a compromise. You changed your point of view to understand what the other person was seeing. Now, a lot of times we become so closed off. I mean, think of an argument where you just completely were unreceptive. You were completely closed off. You didn't want to hear anything that other person was saying.
I'm not listening to you. You're crazy.
Didn't matter what they said. They were wrong. You were right. It's their fault. How you communicate will determine the outcome of any conflict, of any situation. Were you hostile? Were you bitter? Were you argumentative? Was that person trying his best to smooth your feathers and make you happy and you still were just not hearing it? You need to work on your tone if that's you. Remember, openness.
Spread your legs, invite them in.
Understanding, receptiveness can go a long way to solving a problem. Communication is the universal solvent. Think about what you said to that person. If you left a voicemail to them and you listen to it, is that how you'd want to be talked to? You need to talk to people like you would want them to talk to you. You want people to understand you. You want people to see your side of it, your point of view. Try to see their point of view too. And if we could communicate with each other, a lot of problems will be solved. Remember the episode on time and space. If you're in an argument with somebody and things are getting heated and the other person's closed off, back off. Give it time. Let them cool down. Maybe they'll come back to you and say good morning the next morning or talk to you. Or say, look, I realized yesterday I was not listening. I was not hearing you. I understand where you're coming from, and we're going to work on this. And never, ever apologize. Never say you're sorry unless you feel genuine remorse. A lot of times we throw out, I'm sorry, just 'cause.
I know, I should have. I'm sorry.
Don't say you're sorry unless you feel genuine remorse, because if you feel that genuine remorse, you will try to change. That I'm sorry may fix the problem. If you don't, then I'm sorry, it's just a Band-Aid, and the problem will not be solved. So you need to communicate to solve the problem. You need to appreciate that other people have problems too in their lives. That if a person is being hostile towards you, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's everything else going on in their life. I told you the story of Christina. We got into a bad fight one time because she wanted to play the field after she broke up with her boyfriend. It was her wild child year. I told you about that. It was Billy and Kenny and Kyle, Mike. I was so afraid of losing her to somebody else that I held on too tight. And it's caused PTSD. It's caused me to do it now. If I were to get into another relationship now, that fear of loss would cause me to react in ways that I normally wouldn't. And I've lost touch with myself. I need to get back to who I was. The confident Stephen, the Stephen that thought before he spoke, was funny and relaxed and chill instead of this obsessive, compulsive, crazy person that I've become. And it took me a lot of hard thinking to realize that, a lot of looking at other people's points of views. So communication, as I said, solves everything. Be receptive, be respectful, and listen. A lot of times when people are talking and they're going on and on about this or that, they're telling you blah, 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 blah. You're not listening to what they're saying. You're thinking of what you want to say next.
You're not really listening to me, are you?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I could say anything right now, like, you're a complete tool.
Mm-hmm.
But you wouldn't hear it.
You're not even listening to that. You're not hearing anything that person's saying. You are thinking of what you want to say next. You are going to drive your point home, and you're unreceptive. You will disagree in a relationship. There is no perfect relationship. Everybody has fights. Everybody has disagreements. Not everybody sees eye to eye all the time. It's normal. You may have a lot of fights. And the problem with human beings is we don't remember the good times. Human beings have a very, very short memory. They don't remember. Think about this. You have a job. You could do 1,000 great things at your job. You screw up one time, you're fired.
You're fired.
You could do 1,000 good things in a relationship, but you do that one thing that screws up and suddenly you're an asshole because you screwed up. Human beings have a very short memory. We forget the good. We only remember the bad. For those of you who have seen The Notebook, which I highly recommend, it is a fantastic film. A lot of guys right now are probably rolling their eyes. Oh, Nicholas Sparks is a genius. That movie was so well made, so well written. Do you remember in The Notebook when they were fighting, when Allie and Noah were fighting outside his car when she was still with her fiance, and they got into an argument, and he said, "We fight. That's what we do."
We fight! You tell me when I'm being an arrogant son of a bitch, and I tell you when you're being a pain in the ass. Which you are, 99% of the time.
They fought all the time. But they did one thing very well. They loved each other.
But despite their differences, they had one important thing in common. They were crazy about each other.
Through it all. And it was an epic love story till the very end.
I'll be seeing you.
For you science fiction fans, there's a movie came out years ago, and they're making a sequel, and I'm so excited, called Avatar. They had a saying that they said that the people, the Na'vi said, "I see you."
I see you.
We need to see each other. We need to get past our preconceived notions, our preconceptions, our judgmental prejudices. That we think this person has this agenda or that, and we don't want to hear anything else. We need to communicate. Now, the problem with that is that there are people in this world that do play the game, especially in dating, as I said earlier. The girl that's dating that pretty hot guy, and she giggles at everything he says. Oh my God, you're so funny. You're so funny. Oh, you are just so funny. She's playing the game. She wants him to feel that she wants him to know that she's into him and she thinks everything he says is hysterical. Guys do it to females. They'll agree with everything you say. They will never fight with you. You're going to think that's the coolest dude in the world because that dude never fights with me. He never picks fights with me. He never pressures me. He knows how to be just my friend and wait. He'll yes me to death. Is that what you want? You want we want a lapdog that's just going to yes you to death? Tell you what you want to hear? Or do you want honest communication? Do you want to be in a relationship because that person had a really tight dating game that was really good at the game? Or do you want to have a relationship because you communicated honestly with each other and you got to know each other on a very deep level and you know that person's heart? And in spite of your prejudices, in spite of the past pain you've experienced because you don't trust what that person's saying, because you've been burned before, and that person can't mean what they say. Or are you going to listen and understand and possibly have the best relationship of your life? It's all up to you. But you got to do it before it's too late, because that person that loves you will eventually give up.
Don't you let go. Don't let go.
Anyway, I'm Stephen Bastian. This is The Relationship Life. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what episode I'm going to do tomorrow, but it'll be a good one, I hope. I'm going to stay more positive, but I wanted to touch, like I said, on communication, because I think communication breakdown is the biggest problem in relationships. And if we learn how to communicate effectively, if we learn how to understand each other and see each other's point of view and be receptive and open to ideas without prejudice, go a long way. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.